That's the wrong music. Hey, that's the wrong music. Wrong music. Wrong music. That's wrong music. Hello and welcome back to Good Vegan News. I'm Marielle for Forkable News, and boy do we have some good stories for you today. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into today's stories. Welcome back to Studio 1F. Let's get right into our top story, one that for me personally is some of the best news I've heard in years. Sweet revenge, vegan queen Chloe Coscarelli is back after losing her name and NYC restaurants. Many of you may not be familiar with this story, so I need to give some context to truly put the full picture together. Chef Chloe Coscarelli made a name for herself by being the first vegan to win Food Network's Cupcake Wars in 2010. From there, she released a few cookbooks. Then, wanting a way to bring her food to people in real life, she began searching for partners to open a restaurant with. She ended up partnering up with a New York City hospitality group, and in 2015 opened a vegan fast casual cafe called By Chloe on the corner of Bleecker and McDougal Streets. If this seems like an oddly specific detail to include, you will understand why in a few minutes. People raved about the restaurant's offerings, and I dreamed of going. That's why I could not believe my luck when it was announced that the second location of the restaurant would be opening literally down the street from where I lived in Los Angeles. I went to the opening of that location, met Chloe, and fell in love with the food and the whole vibe of the place. Here are some potato quality pictures that I took on my iPhone 6, which don't necessarily do the food justice, but do prove that I was indeed there. Notably, this was the first time I ever tried shiitake bacon, and it's safe to say that was a before and after moment in my life. Aside from the delicious food, it was abundantly clear how much love and passion Chloe had put into this project, and how involved she was. To say that these restaurants and Chloe herself were beloved by the vegan community would be an understatement. The food was incredible, the concept, branding, and execution were spot on, and people loved being able to support a vegan chef in her ventures. More locations opened, everything seemed to be great. Over the next year or two, I continued going. Paul would visit me and we'd go together. It was really a special place for us. But unbeknownst to us, trouble started brewing in 2016. According to legal filings, Chloe made various claims about her partners being deceitful. Some of these claims included Chloe being cut out of ownership of future restaurants, that her partners wanted to mass produce her food and even sell meat under the By Chloe name, and that she had received literal threats from the CEO of the hospitality group. Eventually, an arbitrator sided with the hospitality group, which meant that sadly, Chloe's partners were able to fire her and completely cut her out from By Chloe. Chloe made a heartbreaking post on Instagram around this time expressing what this loss truly meant to her. At this point, many vegans decided to boycott the chain, so essentially By Chloe ceased to exist to many of us. With Chloe's recipes, Chloe's name, and the goodwill that they had been able to garner, in my opinion, largely thanks to Chloe's popularity, the restaurant chain continued to thrive and, dare I say, rapidly expand. Unfortunately, many people didn't realize that Chloe was no longer associated with By Chloe. The name itself is confusing. Why wouldn't someone think a restaurant called By Chloe wasn't actually By Chloe? Over the next few years, Chloe kept a pretty low profile, publishing a new cookbook, doing a couple of restaurant pop-ups, but behind the scenes, she was still fighting. And in 2020, Chloe announced that her ownership in the restaurant had been reinstated. A big part of this was Chloe regaining the ability to use her own name, something that she hadn't really been able to do since 2017. But unfortunately, with this win came the troubling news that the chain had filed for bankruptcy. Wonder if that had anything to do with the rapid expansion? One thing I've learned from covering various stories on my channel over the years is that rapid expansion is almost never a good thing. Just something to keep in mind for future vegan business owners. Expand slowly, that seems to be the better way to do it. By Chloe had at this point been rebranded to Beatnik, and eventually all the locations closed. However, Chloe saw this as a triumph and a much needed closing of a chapter. After that, we didn't hear much else from Chloe until this stunning Instagram post from July 12th, in which Chloe announced she would be opening a new cafe called Chloe at the corner of Bleecker and McDougal. in the exact same location as the first ever By Chloe restaurant had opened 9 years earlier, with many of the beloved menu items from her original restaurant, plus some new favorites that had emerged over the years. This whole story feels like an epic Hollywood movie-worthy triumph. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon at all to hear of solo vegan entrepreneurs being taken advantage of and eventually ousted by investors. But it is so incredibly rare to see that person fight for so long and actually be triumphant. And let me say, this is almost arguably a bigger win for us as a vegan community than for Chloe herself. This is a woman that is known for so many things. Her cupcakes, her cookbooks, her burgers, her sprinkle cake, her nachos. But for me, she will always be known as the woman who ruined salads. Because after you have had a Chef Chloe salad, good luck ever enjoying a salad again. As a vegan, God knows how many boring salads I have suffered over the years. And to me, Chloe is the undisputed queen of not boring salads. This woman makes sweet green look like a bunch of weeds picked from the sidewalk. I mean, look at these salads. Look at them. They're loaded with flavors and textures and colors, proteins and carbs and veggies, interesting dressings. And best of all, they're totally forkable. No huge awkward chunks of veggies. I want to eat my salads with a fork and a fork only. If I need a knife, I'll take a pass. Other restaurants, take notice. This is how you make an exciting vegan salad. I can be incredibly nostalgic, especially about food, and it's so rare that when a beloved vegan restaurant goes away, it comes back again years later. So from a vegan in Connecticut who dearly missed those darn salads, thank you, Chloe, for fighting so hard to get back what you and we all deserved. And I can't wait to visit and try the kale Caesar salad, the taco salad, the butternut nachos, the spicy cashew kelp noodles, sweet potato fries, the sea salt chocolate chunk cookie, and a vanilla oat draft latte, and the truffle avocado toast, and the hot Italian. Welcome back, Chloe. Grab your passport because for our next story, we're heading to Paris. Yes, you can play the music, but only for like 5 seconds max. I don't want to get demonetized. This vegan Olympian just won gold and bagged Paris 2024's highest prize money. Okay, that's enough of the music. Thank you to my subscriber Vivian for calling my attention to this story. Hong Kong épée fencer Vivian Kong Man Wai. My subscriber Vivian. Hong Kong fencer Vivian Kong. No, not my subscriber Vivian. At least I don't think this is my subscriber Vivian. Hey, just wanted to let you know. I won the gold. Won gold at the Olympics and took home 6 million Hong Kong dollars, which is 770,000 US dollars, the highest prize money at Paris 2024. Vivian made history by winning her first Olympic gold and taking home the tournament's largest cash prize. Kong's appearance at Paris 2024 was thrown into doubt after she suffered a knee injury a month before the games. But after recovering from the setback, she became Hong Kong's first female gold medalist since Atlanta 1996. It's a big win for vegan athletes at the Olympics, and an apt response to critics who have lamented the apparent lack of protein and meat at Paris 2024, forcing the organizers to break their climate commitments and increase quantities of grilled meat. Remember that video I made a few weeks ago talking about how great it was that the Paris Olympics had increased their vegan offerings? Well, yeah, at least according to a few media outlets who have gleefully run with this story, it doesn't seem to be going great. It's also a strong reminder to those who have questioned whether athletes can get enough protein and other nutrients from plants. Kong's gold medal shows that it is indeed possible. Now the world #1, she turned vegan after injuring her anterior cruciate ligament in 2017. After initially struggling with prejudice at home, she had since competed at the Tokyo Olympic Games and won the Asian Championships thrice before the Paris 2024 gold. I can be an example to show it's possible, and it's more motivation for me to work harder, have better results, and tell my story about how eating plant-based foods made me better and made me feel better too, Kong told the South China Morning Post in 2018. The article goes on to share stories of a few other vegan Olympic medalists, which goes nicely with my last video discussing the Bon Appetit article about vegan Olympians. It's nice to see it now playing out that vegan athletes are not just competing, not just making it to the Olympics, but winning gold medals and making history. Congratulations, Vivian, and thank you, Vivian, for bringing paying my attention to this story. A brief interruption to today's coverage to let you know that you can get even more Forkable content over on Patreon, where I post exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, podcasts full of vegan hot takes, and so much more. In fact, I just posted a video of me reacting to YouTube shorts from some very popular vegan YouTubers. It's a wild ride, it's fun. If you'd like to check it out, head to this link on the screen and I will also post it below. Moving on and building upon our earlier story of badass female vegan restaurateurs, Pinky Cole's Slutty Vegan expands to Nashville, Florida, and Atlanta Airport. People are adapting to the business and they want more. If you have been patiently waiting to get slutified, there's good news. Pinky Cole Hayes is expanding her Slutty Vegan empire to 3 more outposts to help millions of people lose their V card. I got slutified in 2019 and then again last summer and have been patiently waiting to do it again. The energy at the Slutty Vegan locations matches the menu's playful vibe with employees and sometimes celebrities welcoming virgins and announcing their slutified status for everyone to celebrate. And the crowds always descend on a new outpost, forming long lines and often turning into de facto block parties. Now, Cole Hayes has her eyes set on Nashville, Florida, and the world's busiest airport. Nashville is about to get slutified, with Slutty Vegan set to bring its electrifying pop-up residency to Music City from August 1st to August 7th. A month-long August residency is also slated for Brandon, Florida. The Nashville and Florida pop-ups are expected to be equally popular, with fans lining up to taste meatless burgers like the One Night Stand and the Fussy Hussy, served with slutty fries dusted with the restaurant's signature slut dust. It will be nothing short of a miracle if this video doesn't get demonetized. Cole Hayes initially launched Slutty Vegan in 2018 by selling burgers via Instagram from her apartment, quickly transitioning to a food truck and then a brick-and-mortar location due to overwhelming demand. After securing $25 million in funding, the entrepreneur has been expanding the chain strategically, first in the Atlanta metro area, but more recently outside of Georgia. These pop-ups are meant to test out locations for potential permanent locations. By the end of 2024, Slutty Vegan will also open a location at the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Located in Concourse B, this outpost will include a bar and offer the full Slutty Vegan menu, making it the airport's first fully plant-based restaurant. I don't know about you, but this sounds much more appealing to me than my usual airport meal of a Sabra hummus and pretzel cup. The Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, known for being the busiest airport in the world, sees over 104.6 million passengers annually. This strategic move is part of Slutty Vegan's broader mission to popularize plant-based eating and initiate conversations around vegan food within communities affected by high rates of hypertension, cholesterol, and obesity. I truly love the mission of Slutty Vegan and am so inspired by what Pinky Cole has grown. It would be a dream to have a widely accessible vegan fast food chain, and not to jinx anything, but Slutty Vegan seems to be well on their way there. Our next story is kind of a big deal. British Veterinary Association ends long-standing opposition to plant-based diets for dogs. The British Veterinary Association, BVA, just ended its long-standing opposition to plant-based diets for dogs, providing they are nutritionally sound. The BVA now says it is possible to feed dogs a plant-based diet. The organization also warns that guardians should be aware of ensuring these diets meet nutritional needs. A number of studies have found that well-planned plant-based diets can be safe and optimal for dogs. The BVA has also acknowledged a growing body of evidence demonstrating the major environmental benefits of feeding dogs a plant-based diet. While the BVA's lack of previous support for meat-free animal foods is well publicized, it ceased making public statements on the topic last year and instead established a working group to review its position on companion animal nutrition, including plant-based diets for dogs. Earlier this month, the BVA published an article on the topic and updated its official policies to reflect its new position. However, the association's updated guidelines do not actively recommend any single best diet for individual pets. Instead, it acknowledges that vets should support people to meet animals' nutritional needs within their lifestyle choices. I've lamented before about how our UK friends seem to be a little ahead of us here in the US in terms of their acceptance of and options for vegan food, and now it seems our UK canine friends are no exception. At this point, most vegans know that vegan diets can be safe for dogs, but having the veterinary community on board seems to be crucial in terms of swaying the opinion of the general public. So I'm happy to see this, and here's hoping it will lead to more healthy, happy, plant-based pups. Next up, TerraMeat. Alt dairy brand Elmhurst 1925 is now making meat analogs with just one ingredient. As many of you know, Elmhurst is known for being a 100-year-old dairy plant that made the switch to, well, a plant-based plant, in 2017, being basically the biggest dairy to plant-based success story in the US to date. In a surprising move, Elmhurst 1925, a plant-based milk powerhouse in the US, has entered the meat analog category. It has done so through the launch of a new brand, TerraMeat, which makes plant-based chicken using only one ingredient, hemp protein. An ambient product, all consumers need to do is add water and oil to the hemp grain powder and microwave it for 90 seconds. The result would be cutlets that can be seasoned and then grilled, baked, braised, or fried. At 90 years old, I have seen many changes in the food industry, but I believe Elmhurst TerraMeat plant-based chicken has the potential to redefine the plant-based meat market, said Elmhurst 1925 CEO Henry Schwartz, whose father and uncle founded the brand 100 years ago, in an interview with AgFunder News. Its move into plant-based meat is a curious one, considering the category is crowded and financially challenging. In the US, meat and seafood analogs saw sales drop by 12% last year. In contrast, plant-based milk witnessed a minor 1% increase. But Elmhurst 1925 is betting on its technology, the same hydro-release milling process it uses for its plant-based dairy products, to stand out from the crowd. We start with hemp grain, seeds from industrial hemp plants, which we've been working with to make hemp-based creamers. I have to say, I know the mock meat industry is crowded and not doing great, but I, for one, am intrigued by the just add water concept behind this new product. I mean, let's face it, this is basically the meat analog equivalent to Grow Capsule bath toys. And I used to love Grow Capsule bath toys, so I'm sold. And home science experiment aspect aside, as the article points out, the one ingredient aspect offers an intriguing challenge to the notion that vegan meats are full of ultra-processed ingredients. So let me know what you think. Would you try TerraMeat? Getting into our final story, short-term vegan diet may help slow biological aging, Twin Study finds. A vegan diet can slow signs of aging at a molecular level in as little as 8 weeks, according to new research. The findings, published July 28th in the journal BMC Medicine, are pulled from the Stanford Twin Study, also the subject of the new Netflix documentary series You Are What You Eat, a twin experiment. You might be saying to yourself, huh? The Stanford Twin Study again? The Stanford Twin Study truly is the story that keeps on giving. One might say it has the longevity of, I don't know, a human on a plant-based diet. I think most of us know this study like the backs of our hands by now, but I'll speedrun the details for anyone who needs a refresher. The 8-week study involved 22 pairs of twins, half of whom, one from each pair, were randomized to a healthy vegan diet, while the other half consumed a healthy omnivorous diet. Initial study results, published in November 2023, showed similar results supporting the short-term plant-based diet protocol. Participants who consumed a vegan diet ate fewer calories, lost more weight, and improved LDL, bad cholesterol, and fasting insulin levels than their omnivorous diet counterparts. I believe there's a typo in there because that sentence doesn't make much repeatable sense. I have talked about this study in multiple videos. There's also an entire Netflix series that some would argue is about 3 episodes too long. But while discourse on the series peaked and died down earlier this year, new research was just published focusing specifically on one aspect of the study. The research published this week indicates that in addition to these benefits, consuming a vegan diet also improved epigenetic markers associated with aging. Think of these markers like clocks hidden in your genes. You might be 40 years old, your chronological age, but your biological age could be different based on lifestyle factors like diet and exercise influence. There is no single unified measure for reading biological age through epigenetics. Instead, the research team employed multiple tests to read these clocks. Scientists can observe patterns in DNA methylation, a natural process that affects gene expression, to estimate biological age using various tests, including Grim Age and Dunedin Pace. We didn't really expect much from these clocks, which was the surprising bit, because out of all the clocks that we studied, there were about 12 that showed consistent decreases in their epigenetic age. There was a significant decrease in the vegans, but there was no change in the omnivores, he said. Who knew that consuming death could actually bring a person closer to death? I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think about it, and, you know, we knew. We tried to tell them, but they accused us of being preachy, so what can we do? Well, this wasn't news to many of us. It was surprising this past week to see a barrage of headlines and mainstream publications covering this recent study. For the average person, I imagine these headlines could be pretty compelling, especially the short-term aspect and how quickly these results can be achieved. And this potentially life-changing information being made public once again, I think can only be a good thing. And that's it for today's Good Vegan News. Let us know your thoughts on today's story stories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more of my content, and check out Patreon for exclusive content and perks. A very special thank you to my Fancy Fork patrons, Regina and Claudia. Again, I'm Marielle for Good Vegan News. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. No, I give up.